And then we have the candidate for Michigan Secretary of State, Kristina Karamo. So we're going to let her come up and speak. I'm sorry, actually, real quick, I meant to do this first. Unfortunately, we heard from Tammy Clark. She was supposed to come here. She's the subject matter expert, very resourceful person. She emailed me. I woke up with laryngitis this morning and have no voice. I have been speaking so much this week that I could tell I was losing my voice yesterday, but I can barely squeak this morning. Freedom fighting has taken a toll on me, and I'm very tired and mute this morning. I'm sorry I won't be able to speak today. Please accept my apologies. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'll see if Kristen and I can help you guys at the school board meeting. So we will hopefully be meeting them on Monday. So I just wanted to let you all know, thank you for your patience on that.
Okay, I'll rather hold the mic like this. So hello, my name is Kristina Karamo. I'm candidate for Michigan Secretary of State. Thank you. So we've been hearing a lot of politicians talk about election integrity. And to be frank, many of them are simply using it as a buzzword to help them fundraise. Because folks, I was a poll challenger at the TCF Center in Detroit. So was I. And I was a person who submitted my affidavit of witnessing legal statutes being violated. We went before the Senate, we went before the House, and they did nothing. And now these same people who did nothing want to submit a bunch of bills of how they're going to clean up the election process. But when it mattered, you didn't do anything. When it mattered, when you had the opportunity to stop this election outcome changing corruption, you did nothing. And now we're supposed to trust you. No. So I've decided to run for Secretary of State. And we talk a lot about liberty, especially as conservatives. We talk about liberty so much. But the thing about it, sometimes, folks, I think we've kind of forgotten how precious our liberty is. In America, we are so comfortable. We are super duper comfortable. And when we look around at what people are experiencing in other parts of the world, oftentimes we're deluded into thinking that it will never happen here. It totally could happen here. And we're on that track for a lot of it to happen here. But it's not gonna happen overnight. And the way that we stop that is with election integrity. Because election integrity is an issue of national security. It's an issue of national survival. That is how we have our voice heard. We are the governed, and we give our consent to be governed through the election process. And when the election process is corrupted, then how do we have our voices heard? How do we give our consent to be governed? We're robbed of that. We can no longer do it. And that means that aspiring tyrants can rise to power, and there's nothing we can do about it. This election cycle, rather in 2020, is going to be so much spotlight on the Secretary of State's race, simply because many of us ignored it. We just paid attention to the governor's race. And whoever got into the Secretary of State's office, we said, okay, well, whatever. Little did we know, this corruption has been going on for decades. For decades. It's not just about the presidential election. We love President Trump. I love President Trump. And I'm very angry about what happened in 2020. But think of how many other elections have been corrupted. From school board races. We're learning now more than ever, our counties, that's actually what can stop a federal oppression. Our counties, those elections have been potentially corrupted. So it is an issue of national survival that we stand up and we clean up the election system so that your vote is secure, so my vote is secure, and the will of the people. Our vote is what represents election results and not corruption. And thank you. Yeah. And so, as I mentioned, I was a poll challenger at the TCF Center. Folks, I am actually a teacher by trade. I'm a college professor. That's what I do by trade. And I recently graduated from theology school because I got my master's in Christian apologetics. And my focus was on defending the Christian faith in the public square. That was where my focus was. I've always, if anyone knows me personally, knows I have a big mouth. I've always been complaining about our politicians, so I've been active in that regard. But running for public office was not in my purview whatsoever. But after serving as a poll challenger at the TCF Center, I said it is no way I can stand on the sideline and just complain. Because many of these so-called Republicans are not gonna do anything. They're in bed with the Democrats. I'm sorry to say it like that, but it's just the truth. They're not gonna do anything. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to do something. And many of you sitting out here, you know what, you can run for office. Do not allow a lot of these politicians to convince you that you lack the experience. We have created a self-imposed monarchy, and many of these people have convinced us that no, we have to open the door for you to walk in. I've heard people say things like, oh, well, why don't you run for state rep first? I am not doing this as some type of career move. Okay, I'm not running for office as a career move because I'm looking to elevate myself in this regard. No, I am running for office as a service to my nation. That's why I'm running for office. It's for our children and grandchildren. I am a mother. And the America I've grown to love and enjoy, all of us have loved and enjoyed, it can slip away. The eagle can die. The eagle can die if we don't maintain this blessing of America. So that is why I'm running for office. For the people who say, well, you've never held office before. You've never done this. Again, I'm not doing this as a career move. I'm doing this because I love my nation. And I realize that if America dies, that won't just impact us, it will impact the globe.
Yes.
It will impact the globe. And America's, the domestic and foreign enemies are loving the fact that our election system is corrupted because they can topple our nation without firing a single bullet. So we don't need to wait until we're looking at a communist-style government. We see the Biden administration already doing that now. We don't need to wait until the government shows up at our door with guns. That's not what we need to wait for. While we're in this point now, this is when we fight. This is where we fight. And so that's why I'm running for the office of Michigan Secretary of State, because the Secretary of State's office is the conduit to which the people's voice is heard. And I have a plan on many issues. One, of course, election integrity, making sure that people are involved and engaged and see what's happening, that it's a transparent process with honesty, with integrity. But also we have other issues going on in the Secretary of State's office. Anyone here repairs cars, or auto repair person, or auto dealer. We've been having issues where the Secretary of State has been abusing that position, charging them unfair fines and fees, issuing fines and fees for no cause. They've been getting abused. Also, we want to look into the issues dealing with identity theft, protecting your identity. Little do many people know, but the Secretary of State is responsible for protecting your identity. So there's a lot of issues that need to be cleaned up. But the primary one is election integrity, because if we do not clean up our election system, we functionally no longer have a republic at all. And a tyrant can rise to power and do anything to us, and there will be no peaceful means to stop it. So again, my name is Kristina Karamo. If you have any questions, I will be sticking around, and I'll be more than happy to take any questions that you have. Thank you, and God bless.
Okay, and here is Dr. Gianni to go over all this fun COVID stuff. So no, you take your time.
I wish I was as tall as her.
Oh, sorry.
I'll take an inch or two, please. Hello, I'm Dr. Gianni Kazan. I am a doctor in Michigan since, 22 years. And I just first of all want to thank this group of patriots, I guess, for allowing me to speak on a bigger platform, because when I speak to my patients, it's one patient, therefore one family at a time. So when I try to educate people on health and improving health, it's very hard because it's one at a time. So thank you for being here, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I do wish to say that I'm not speaking on behalf of any hospital system or medical system. I work in multiple systems. I don't represent them, I represent me. I'm an independent practitioner in the state, and actually multiple states across the nation. And I am thankful for that because, first of all, as an immigrant, legal immigrant to this nation, I came here by choice, running from communism in Eastern Europe back in the 80s. So I know oppression, I know censorship, and I know freedom. So I would like to empower today. I want to speak about the fear that I see in so many people everywhere. I must be one of the only people walking around without a mask, except maybe here. Thank you. I want to try and help teach you guys so you can act on it by sharing what you're learning with somebody else. Because I'm one person, and if we can spread from 1 to 20, 50, whatever, and then exponentially spread, I have some sheets on one of the tables on resources. Please share it. But fear is false evidence appearing real. And I just had a conversation with my son, my 9-year-old. He went to the dentist and he goes, "Mommy, thank you for the new dentist." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he goes, did he have a needle in that? He had a cavity. I wasn't there, but the prior dentist did. And he didn't know. But it hurt. And I said, he goes, "Mommy, the truth." And I go, "Of course I'm gonna tell you the truth. Yes, there was a needle in that." And he goes, "But he only said to look away. Don't look, it hurts less." But it did hurt a lot. And I go, "That's true. Because if you see that needle," which happens to me when I poke my patients, okay? If patients see the needle, their mind goes wild. You will expect so much pain, but it's a thin needle that really, if you don't look, you're gonna feel a prick. And I explained to him at age 9, you feel the prick, but then when that solution goes under your skin to numb you up is the burn. You have to pay a little bit of price to not feel pain the rest of the time in the surgery or dental work or whatever. But our imagination, he was about to lose his mind just seeing the needle. That's what we're doing. That's what people are doing regarding the unknown. Our fear is numbing our ability to think, numbing our ability to see what's in front of us. We used to see something. I came from communism. If I see something, I'll be like, "Oh, dang, I've seen that before," okay? People see something and I have to tell you, "Listen, can you see that?" They can't see it. I go, "Listen, I've lived it. Can you see that?" It doesn't matter if I've experienced it. And a lot of times people can't see it. So we have to get rid of this fear that is just literally mind-numbing, okay? So my goal today is to provide you some information that it becomes, we have to live with nature. Nature is around us. You cannot run from viruses, ever. You just find ways to deal with them, okay? So there are a couple of amazing doctors that have spoken out. Dr. McCullough, Dr. Urso out of Texas. You can see their YouTube. They testified in front of their Health Human Services committees and shared. Dr. Cole in Idaho, many doctors, okay? So you can find your resources, but I've kind of summarized a little bit. I liked what Catherine Henry said. I'm trying to remind people, listen, if you say you believe in God, it doesn't matter if you're in your house sleeping at night. You might have a plane falling on your house, okay? Do you remember way back in the 90s where there were a big plane that tried to land at Detroit Metro, but it landed on the highway, crushed a couple cars along the way? How would you know that? You were driving. If it's your time, it's your time. Stop with the fear. And we're placing our faith in man's word, man's dealings, instead of God, and finding out a way how God gave us an immune system that is perfect. But you cannot send your soldiers in your body to war without having the proper equipment. So I'm going to get into how do we keep our immune system strong so our immune system that is perfectly designed will be able to fight off viruses, bacteria, whatever, parasites in general, germs, because we have it in us, okay? So that's my goal. I'll get to some of my references. All right, first of all, what are seasonal viruses? Viruses that come around in different seasons, okay? So we don't just, and I talk about this with my patients because I'm more concerned. I'm an obstetrician, so I care about not just the mom, I care about the developing baby. And there are quite a few viruses that affect fetuses in the uterus. So before coronavirus, and I tell them, I'm more concerned if you catch a cold, not if you have corona necessarily. I'm concerned, do you have something else that I need to track the baby now? Make sure the baby stays healthy. So let me just read you off a little bit. What other viruses can contribute to yearly cough, cold, flu-type symptoms? Now, if you notice on the any kind of federal summaries where they put the weekly morbidity mortality review, if you look online, under weekly morbidity mortality review, they summarize incidents of flu or flu-like illness. Trick, flu-like illness, okay? Many viruses will call a flu-like illness, corona-like illness. So, rhinoviruses, 35 to 70% of our colds, cold-like symptoms, flu-like symptoms caused by rhinoviruses. Coronaviruses, they're not new on the planet. They cause 12 to 15% of flu-like colds or flu-like symptoms or colds. There are 7 different types of coronaviruses. 3 of them cause the SARS or the severe acute respiratory syndromes. There are 7 total. Adenovirus, influenza viruses, 7 to 12% of colds or flu-like symptoms. Now, RSV. We typically hear, who heard of RSV? We usually hear about this with kids. But what we didn't know, respiratory syncytial virus, more than 177,000 older adults are hospitalized per year in the USA. 14,000 die of RSV, which is supposedly a nothing children's virus. At the highest risk are the adults 65 and older, adults with chronic heart and lung disease, and anyone with a weakened immune system. Weakened immune system, we'll get back to that. Cytomegalovirus, CMV, it's a herpes-type virus. I care about it because it can really damage, just like Zika virus down south. Up north, it can create a lot of cellular damage in developing fetuses. So I care about this. 1 out of 20 babies is born with congenital CMV, of which 1 in 5 will have long-term health problems like hearing loss, the most common cause of congenital deafness. Motor delays, vision loss, small head, microcephaly, seizures, long-term. Nobody cares about that. I care about that. We should all care about that. This is a normal thing that we can reduce the risk of having. They've tried to do vaccines for decades. It hasn't worked. Parvovirus, Fifth's disease. We know about this in daycare. We know about this around little kids. I care if you're pregnant and you have little kids, because you could get it for the first time and it can actually cause fetal injury. So that can give you a cold. Metapneumovirus affects all ages, especially the young and the immune-weakened people. Parainfluenza. If you're tested for influenza-like symptoms but you don't have influenza, it might be parainfluenza, okay? 4 types of them. In the USA, most commonly seen in the cycle of the odd number years. So we're in an odd number year. And mostly the young kids will have it, but immune-weakened people will get it. And of course, the influenza virus. So just because you have a symptom, it doesn't mean it's corona. It's probably not, because the rhinoviruses are the most common cause. So let's just bring perspective back, step back a few steps, and just let's get back to seeing reality, because we are brainwashed, okay? We're mind-numbed. All right, let's talk about corona for just a little bit. It is seasonal. It has a cycle. It follows about a 6 to 9 month life cycle. The average COVID-19 death in the United States, 78.6 years of age. Average annual U.S. age death historically, 78.6 years. Isn't that interesting? Highest risk factor for severe infection with coronavirus, advanced age, obesity, and we're going to get to that, and low vitamin D, which is correlating with obesity. This virus is very fragile. It is destroyed by UVB light. So being out in nature is actually good. Seeing people jogging with a mask on, probably not so good. Or not going outside. And ventilation is good. So even if you're indoors, if you have good ventilation, it's like a flimsy little thing, just saying. Okay. But the main problem is that we don't have seasonal illnesses. We have seasonal low vitamin D. That's the main problem. So there's this Dr. Cole in Idaho that did an amazing presentation. I'm going to summarize a bunch of his stuff because it is so simple to understand that I need to share it. So you guys learn now, please share it. It's so good. So he calls the vitamin D deficiency a pandemic, which I totally agree. A pandemic is an illness, usually an infectious, but forget about the infection. That happens worldwide. This vitamin D deficiency is pandemic everywhere. If you look at the 35th parallel north, 35th south, you don't get enough sun. And you've got multiple months. So we're talking about, fall, winter. We don't have enough sun to touch our skin to stimulate vitamin D production. And therefore, you don't have enough of this prohormone that is needed in every cell of your body to function. So here's some of the summaries. He said approximately 2,000 genes in our body, which is 5% of our entire genome, is controlled by vitamin D. Vitamin D is the master key to our immune system, but go get your vitamin D level checked. So it's so easy to do, but you have to make sure actually the doctors order the right thing. So make sure that they order a 25 hydroxy vitamin D and not a 1-25 vitamin D, which shows you that the 25 hydroxy was converted to 1-25 by your kidneys, and it's a kidney function test. So make sure they order the right thing, because I've caught a few, and you get a high, nice level of kidney function, but you don't know your vitamin D level because it wasn't checked. Okay? So we want to check 25 hydroxy vitamin D. You want to have it at about 50 or above. The range of normal is dependent by each lab, so look at your sheet. Most of them will be between 20 and 30 at the low end. And I tell my patients, because you know what? It took me until this, and I'm ashamed to say it, but I was in that same boat. I would look at the thing and say, oh, you're normal, it's 31. Low end and normal is 30. And that was okay for me until I looked at this, and there was a lot of awakening that happened in the past year, let me tell you. But why would you want to be at the low end of anything? Why would you want to be at the average of anything? If you're ranging me between 30 and 80, I want to be upper normal range or maybe a little bit high. Because you know what? We need excellent immune system function. And vitamin D is not just for immune system. It's for bone strength, helps calcium absorption. It's for tissue strength. I mean, we'll get into that a little more. But here are statistics about who is vitamin D deficient. 70% of the world is deficient. 70 to 80% of all Americans are deficient. 82 to 88% of nursing home patients are deficient. So we have an immune deficient population. Why are they deficient? Because they stay in the home. They don't go outside. They don't get supplements. They hardly eat. Think of, grandma. When we were doing, my grandma we were doing home hospice at, in the end, but she was in the home the whole time. She was hardly ever out my bed 10 years ago, okay? But I've learned. So think about it. African Americans, 83% deficient. Why? Because their melanin is keeping that UV ray from getting in to stimulate vitamin D production. Who's getting sickest with COVID or any respiratory virus? Forget COVID, any respiratory virus. The elderly, and we're seeing in the African American community with COVID. So we're low. 70% of Latinos, Native Americans are low. 50% of Caucasians are low. Even in California, they're low. Why? Because they're not getting the reaction in their skin and they're not supplementing enough. The food we eat, there are very few foods that contain vitamin D. You have to supplement. Just make it a habit. It's a daily, you need to live daily. Take it daily until your level is at least 50 or upper normal range, or even a little bit above. It's hard to get toxic in D, okay? There was a doctor many years ago, apparently the only doctor that ever died, he experimented on 1 million units a day. He died. Don't do that, okay? So let's put this in perspective, okay? The RDA recommendation, what's on a multivitamin, 400 international units, 800 international units. That's very low. If you get admitted with COVID for the hospital, we start you off at 20 to 60,000 units a day. If you are vitamin D deficient, you will take 50,000 once a week or multiple times a week if you need more. So what's the big deal in taking 2,000 maintenance per day or 4,000 to 5,000 per day? Or as Dr. Fauci said last November, every winter he takes 8,000 to 9,000 units of vitamin D every winter. But he didn't say it to everybody. He said it at an interview. So he knows something. We should know that something. So let's teach other people, okay? All right. Want to not miss anything that's important. What else are we deficient in? Magnesium. Magnesium is so important, guys. So unless you're eating, we're supposed to, the daily recommended allowance, 400, 500 milligrams per day. But again, it's like this wind and I'm going, okay? So in order for us to have a low magnesium level in the blood, you have to be so severely deficient it's showing in your blood. Does that make sense? Because you're storing it. So when your stores are low, boom, you're going to drop it in your blood. Let's not be low in our blood. We need that for immune function. It's a cofactor for vitamin D to work properly, and it's needed for energy. Where do we get it? In seeds. So who goes around eating 2 cups of pumpkin seeds every day, okay? Like, think about it. In the olden days, when we were farmers, grazing and doing all that jazz, you were eating off the land. And the land was good. The soil was full of minerals. We lost that soil, and we're not grazing. So supplement magnesium, okay? That would be my next recommendation. Zinc, okay, 80% of Americans are magnesium deficient. We need it. Zinc deficiency. In my world, I mean, this is so shameful. As a medical doctor, we had one class in diet and what kind of illnesses will we see on deficiencies of certain things, okay? This is in medical school, 20-some years ago. But we don't get this. We're not taught this. And I'm the strange doctor because I like to look at what's the ultimate cause. I don't want to just patch you and give you a drug to patch your symptoms. I want to solve the problem, okay? So zinc deficiency, I never looked at that. 70% of Americans have zinc deficiency. Zinc is so important. It inhibits replication of viruses. So why would we not want zinc? Zinc is part of the protocol for inpatient hospitalized coronavirus treatment. Well, why can't we just prevent hospitalization by taking lower doses, taking what we need to maintain an amazing immune function, and lower the risk we're going to get admitted, period. Okay, so that's the goal. Vitamin D supplementation, magnesium, vitamin C, super important in general, and we're not talking about 500 milligrams, grams per day. Grams per day. Well, how do you take grams? Well, it doesn't matter to me if you take a pill, if you put it in a liquid, concentrated liquid in your water and you drink it, if you have a powder, whatever C you find, just remember, ascorbic acid absorbs super fast. So it's up in an hour or two, then you're peeing it out in 3 or 4 hours. You will not have extra in your blood. So you have to, the way I tell my patients, because I have to be, slow them down so they don't get too many gut symptoms. If you take too much vitamin C, you can have GI side effects. So you have to dose yourself up to tolerance of your gut, and then you get used to it. So I say, start with 500 or a gram, whatever you want, 500 milligrams, 1 gram, or 1,000 milligrams. Drink or take one with every meal. If your stomach starts to hurt after the second, stop for that day. Start again the next day. And then you're working yourself up to get into a habit of having more vitamin C in your system all day long. And, whatever you can do, 4 or 5. I mean, in China, I was looking at how were they treating coronavirus in China. They were doing IV high-dose vitamin C, and it was grams per kilo. That's like 90 to 100 grams per day. Okay, so there's something missing. We're missing something But why not start adding grams to our own daily habit and routine to boost our immune system and reduce the chance we're ever going to need a super high dose? Make sense? Okay. All right. And the last thing two more things I would add for boosting immune system: a vitamin B complex. If you're not taking it, vitamin B6, B12, also super important. You might as well just take a B complex so you never get low of, vitamin B1, B2, and everything else. Our diets are not right, so I'm sorry. We eat properly at home, and yet my D, I had vitamin D deficiency a few years ago. I was weak, my memory was gone, I couldn't remember my friend's name that was next to me. Okay, I had $1 million workup. Autoimmune, MRIs, everything. My vitamin D was 17. And we eat very healthy. My husband cooks, so we eat very healthy. He's like a chef, he's amazing. So supplement. So what I'm saying, it can affect beyond cognition, memory, focus. I mean, it's beyond just immune system. Vitamin D is essential for normal living, for daily normal function. And what else? Reduce carbohydrate intakes. Why? Because if you eat too many sugars, and sugars are not just sweets, carbohydrates in general, it can affect your immune system function against germs in general, bacteria more likely. So just reduce carbohydrate intake, okay? Now, what's the current CDC and NIH? Now, my next goal is to try, so we know how to boost our immune system, okay? We're gonna supplement vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, magnesium, B complex, make it a habit. Exercise, drop your vitamin or your carbohydrate intake. But we also need to realize that this is a virus, like any other virus out in nature, and we should not be scared of it. Because unlike what we hear, that they're, what's the recommendation for CDC and NIH? Outpatient therapy recommendations if you catch corona. Like, you go, you get your test done. You have a sniffle or a sore throat, and they're like, oh, you have positive coronavirus. What do I do? Do you have a reference? This happened to a nurse friend of mine a couple weeks ago. No. Well, what can I do at home? Nothing. Just go home, 2 weeks. This is what Dr. McCullough was talking about if you watch that YouTube in front of Texas, but it's happening here. I just refuse to not take care of my patients. I'm just thinking, how is it possible that physicians, if you call your doctor and you say, you have a sore throat, what are the odds they're gonna say you can't come in? What? When did we not come in until they check you for corona? Go somewhere else. When did we stop caring about our patients? When is a patient not allowed to come to the doctor when they're sick? I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. But currently, CDC and NIH says, go home and isolate. That's it, okay? Come back, go to the ER if it's hard for you to breathe, or if your lips turn blue because your oxygen level dropped. But what can we do, okay? There are things we can do. So part of this fear is not just, yes, you're gonna probably experience and expose yourself, like CMV virus. For me, it's very concerning because it damages fetuses. So if a mommy catches the first time during pregnancy, I gotta watch this baby really close. But 50 to 80% of adults have had it by the time they're adults, okay? We're gonna get exposed to these viruses. Let's just, stop it, flip that mind think. We're not afraid of you, little bug. We're gonna be ready to fight you, little bug. And then we're gonna build our own immune system. And I'm sorry, but a natural immune system that God gave me is gonna cross-react like CMV does, like every other virus does. These viruses mutate, they change, they fight back, they develop resistances like bacteria. That's why we check cultures for bacteria, for resistance against this drug or the other. It's not the same. But if you build your immune system against one CMV, you're going to have some cross-reaction to fight off the other types of CMV. So if you're going to build a natural immune system against a live whatever influenza infection, you're going to have some cross-reaction to help you fight the other types of influenza. I can only assume, based on other viral experience, this corona will probably be the same. But have your immune system ready to fight. And then don't be afraid of the bug, the little germ, the little thing that just, be out in the sun. Be out in the sun. Go out. 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day is more than enough, but do more. So the next thing of fear is if you do catch it, is there treatment? Yes, there is, but there's a blackout. We're not, this is beyond me, that people don't talk, other physicians, and I'm just gonna say, in my opinion, I think it's malpractice to know there is something you can do about something, and you don't offer that guidance to your patient that is so simple, such as maybe double your vitamin D. I take 5,000 units per day, every day, my maintenance dose. If I catch a cold, why do we have those zinc lozenges we were taking when you're sore throat, right? The zinc lozenges, you got zinc in there, okay? So double your vitamin D for 5 days, boost the immune system, double your zinc for a few days, 5 days, boost your immune system, and you're gonna feel better, go back to maintenance dose. Why can't we tell our patients things like that? We can. Why don't we? And I really truly believe a lot of medical doctors are not taught nutrition, they're not taught deficiencies properly, and we're very busy, and it's gotten so busy that you cannot, it's hard for people to, they just, be kind to your doctor, because they're overwhelmed, they're burned out, and they don't have time to look left and right, okay? When you're just barely taking a foot forward and you're trying to just survive and have a little time with your family at the end of the night, it's hard to look left and right. But take the action of teaching them a little bit, and just let them know, hey, I read about this, you should look into this. And start giving them information, because they may not have time to look it up and do their own research. I do, because I'm strange like that. I like to see what's going on. But I've been looking into vitamin D before coronavirus. Everybody thought I was so odd. More data's coming out in pregnancy complications because of D deficiency, but that's whatever. So just teach your doctors. Let them know what you know, and they're gonna start hopefully looking into it more and sharing more. But medical doctors just tend to prescribe. I'm like, let's go to nature. I changed a little bit, quite a bit. Now, there are treatments, and I want to quickly tell you a little bit about it. I have an actual handout on one of the tables with references, because the experience is there, and there are medications, there are multiple things that you have to do. There is no one treatment. So you're boosting your immune system, you're taking your vitamins. There are antiviral things that you can get, and they're not FDA labeled. I love how Dr. McCullough said, FDA approved for this indication. Well, it's a label. And we use in medicine, and if people don't accept it, we use off-label drugs for many different treatments. And it's off-label because it's not indicated for that particular disease by the FDA, but it's been proven and used for decades for this, okay? So we already do it. So we can take things like hydroxychloroquine. I prescribe hydroxychloroquine to my pregnant patients. It is so safe. I've been giving it for 20-some years for lupus, okay, for Sjogren's, for many autoimmune. If they have a really bad autoimmune disease that is dependent, we have so much pregnancy data that when you're pregnant, please do not stop hydroxychloroquine. It's not called hydroxychloroquine. Maybe we should stop calling it that and call it Plaquenil. It sounds nicer. It's less, political, but it works. So it is a safe medicine. It is so safe. I had a problem early on last year when they were trying to say that hydroxychloroquine was so dangerous. I have to say, fear hit me too last year, because I didn't know what I was dealing with. Was this another one of those crazy Ebola type things that would have been very dangerous for pregnancy, okay, for physicians to be around? But slowly, I think what flipped my mind first is when I heard them talk about how dangerous hydroxychloroquine was. And I went, there's something wrong here. Because I've been giving it for 22 years. And I give it to the most vulnerable of all, including developing fetuses, including in the first trimester. So how dangerous can this be? My goodness. And then, I hate to say it, I had a moment because I was in shock. I was stricken with fear and my mind stopped working. I said, oh, have I harmed my patients all these years? Can you believe it? After I've already done the research, because I prescribed it, I had a doubt that I harmed my patients. And then I realized, let me go back, and then I heard other docs going, this is crazy, and I thought, okay, this is crazy. Something's wrong with what we're hearing. So this is when I started doing my own research. So yes, Plaquenil is safe. Ivermectin is the newest thing that, it's not new, but it's being used, and it works. Apparently it works even better than hydroxychloroquine. It's anti-inflammatory, it has some antiviral properties, it's used worldwide, billions of people. You can purchase, I don't know, why is it so hard? In India, they have this little Zyverdo pack, blister packet that they have at home. It includes Ivermectin, 3 tabs, because you take it 3 days. It includes the antibacterial doxycycline, and it includes zinc. So you have to treat this to prevent a severe infection in the highest at risk. Typically, we look at age 50 and above, or 50 with comorbidities, okay? Comorbidities, especially obesity. Why? Because it's vitamin D deficiency. It can affect us, and we can be more deficient. So ask your doctor to do a vitamin D level on you, 25 hydroxy D. And if it's not 50 or above, get it there. Get it there, whatever you need to do. And it doesn't matter if you need to take a higher dose. It's whatever your body needs. We're not robots. I tell my patients this. I tell my residents this. We're not robots. We have to individualize care. That's out the door in the current state of following all the protocols. But we have to individualize care. So be proactive for your own health care. We have to. Because honestly, to this day, I have to wonder, where am I going to take my kids? I don't do pediatrics, but I'm learning more about it because I'm like, who can I trust? As a physician. So we have to start to be more proactive in our own health care. Okay, let me make sure I don't forget anything that I had because this is all important. Okay, so it's a cocktail of therapy. It is not, but yes, once you get symptoms, if you're in a higher risk group, there's stuff you can get. If your doctor is not willing to prescribe ivermectin, which, like, it's given to horses, okay? All right, I'm just saying. You can find it anywhere in a paste form, but it's weight-based dosing, but there are pills that they can prescribe. If they're not willing to do it, there are websites available where you can get consults, you can get physicians, you have access nationally. And I put them on here, okay? So there is a group early on, the Association of American Physicians and Surgeons, aapsonline.org. They updated a guide to home-based COVID treatment, step-by-step doctor's plan that could save your life. If I, through this, by sharing how to boost your immune system, that you can actually get some treatments here and there, right? Where can you access it? If I can save one life, I've done my job, but please share. You can print this. This is free. You can choose, you can get on their website, you can print it. It includes step by step. You can literally take this to your doctor if, I would like this, look at this. Please, there's something we don't need to just go home and wait for us to get really sick and get hospitalized. Let's prevent hospitalization. Dr. McCullough in Texas said that when he started the treatments, the cocktail of treatments, they lowered the chance of the rate of admission in their hospital by 75%. How many could have not been admitted because they would have been given a treatment? We've never, honestly, if I withhold known standard of care treatment, I will get sued. Okay? If I fail to diagnose, I can get sued. What happened to our medical providers? And I think we're all in that boat of fear. Stop. Think. Stop. We have to get past it. So it's a virus out in nature. We cannot we should not. We live with nature. boost your immune system. There is early treatment, and early treatment prevents admission and death. Let's make this available to people. There are a couple more websites. You can do online consultations with speakwithanmd.com. There's another online, I put 3. Let me see here. I think I gave all my references on those sheets. Check out those sheets. And there are 2 more websites that provide physicians that are willing to prescribe to anyone, anywhere. They'll just do a telephone consult, or maybe like a face-to-face if you have a video consult, and just they'll do a consultation online, and they'll see based on your health history and your symptoms, is this something that you should benefit from it? You can prevent it too. If you have physician or providers, friends, family that are scared to death, they can take preventative ivermectin. They can take preventative hydroxychloroquine. I actually did that because I was so afraid. I logged on speakwithanmd.com. I couldn't get it prescribed in Michigan. Way last year, we weren't allowed. The pharmacist wouldn't fill them even if I prescribed it, unless I put a real diagnosis like, lupus. I don't want that on my record, I don't have lupus yet. But you can get on there and you can get your prescription. It's preventative dose. It can also prevent illnesses. So we have to arm ourselves. We have to know it's nature. We can have a good immune system. If we catch it, we can fight it. And stop being afraid. We have to live. Get out and live. And you need oxygen. You need sun. And if you exercise, you need to blow off your carbon dioxide. And we need oxygen. Just saying. Thank you. Any quick questions? Yes, ma'am.
Did you know that you could get quin in tonic? It's
Yes.
tonic water with quin. You drink
Tonic
8 ounces
water.
of tonic water with quin, a teaspoon of lemon juice, and a dash of baking soda.
Let me add to that. Thank you. Part of the cocktail here, zinc. It's important to know zinc needs to get inside the cell to function. In order for the zinc to go inside the cell, it needs something that's called an ionophore. And hydroxychloroquine or Plaquenil is an ionophore. It helps zinc get into the cell. Then zinc can function and inhibit replication of this virus, many viruses. Another ionophore is quercetin or quinine, right? In tonic water.
Tonic water with quin.
Quercetin is found in supplements of concentrated fruits and vegetables supplements. You can buy it separately. I would caution, if you buy stuff, make sure you get organic things. I don't know what else. You have to be very careful with supplements because a lot of the supplements come, like the substrates of what's put in them will come from China. We don't have that, or may come from India. I have to say a lot of probably from India stuff is probably okay because they're using it themselves. But I don't know where they're coming from if you buy a generic brand. So be cautious because I never paid attention to quality. I just prescribed prenatal vitamins. And then I didn't even think, or a Centrum multivitamin, or whatever multivitamin, and you don't even realize, put your multivitamin in a little bit of vinegar, pH, about the same as your acid in your stomach, and if after 20, 30 minutes it hasn't dissolved and bubbled, because I did this with the over-the-counter.
It's just sitting in your stomach.
It's just sitting there, even the red ink didn't come off of it. You're pooping it out. So quality matters. So we have to be careful where we get our supplements. But, I've had to do my own research, and I didn't know this. It's shameful as a medical doctor. 20-some years, in the last 2 years, I've woken up. But I have, so please share. What else? So quercetin is super important. Another ionophore is selenium. So if you can get zinc that's together with selenium, that's good. Hopefully zinc has selenium and copper a little bit in it. It's super important because zinc and copper will inhibit each other from getting absorbed. So if you're supplementing zinc every day, you got to supplement copper every day. That should be in your multivitamin, a basic generic. So how do we keep ourselves in general healthy? Take a basic daily multivitamin of quality. It should have some copper in there, okay, and other hopefully some selenium. Then you focus in on what you need. We need vitamin D, extra. Vitamin C, extra. Zinc, extra. Selenium, extra. So that's how you do it. You got to target. You need your basic multivitamin, you target for your, what else do you need? Immune system boosting, B complex. Whatever's in a multivitamin won't be enough to carry a B complex strength. Add a B complex. Okay? Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Fish oil is helpful for many other things, including heart health. I haven't encountered it at all. I'll put that in the general health, and it's definitely an extra that you would need to add beyond your normal multivitamin. Yeah. The ratio of DHA to EPA is important, but that's different. So that's yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for listening, and please share. And get this from the web. It's amazing. You can donate to them, but you can also just get it for free.
Which website is it?
That's the aapsonline.org. And I wish I had my sheet so I can read off the other sites. Let me grab the sheet and I'll just read off real quick the other sites. Hold on.
Thank you.
But I need it back. All right, so if you need physician resources for treatment, early treatment, speakwithanmd.com or frontlinemds.com, mds.com. Or you can go, oh, I forgot to say, another early treatment, especially for asthmatics already, or respiratory, people who have a respiratory reaction to just common viruses, a reactive airway disease is what it's called, a steroid, natural, normal, we prescribe it all the time, steroid inhalers, budesonide, that's been found to help with early treatment in patients, is an anti-inflammatory, so steroids, a few days after you catch corona, you get a bad inflammatory reaction. It's not the virus that makes you deathly ill. It's this massive inflammatory reaction that makes you deathly ill. So if you get steroids 5 days or more for respiratory symptoms, it cuts down the chance that you're going to allow your immune system to go haywire. So budesonide is the inhaler version. You can get prednisone, you can get pills. So there are other things to do, okay? There are treatments. That's what we need to know and share. There are treatments to reduce the chance you're going to wind up in the hospital. But all grandparents need to be on all those vitamins, okay? Another site, budesonideworks.com. And then you can click on providers. And then they will prescribe. So you've got lots of places you can get help if your physician is not willing to, okay?
Okay, and we have actually one more person that is going to come out and speak, and I'm actually going to let her introduce herself, Articia Bomer.
Hello, everybody. Don't leave yet. I see y'all taking them chairs. Get back over here. Get back over here. The party has just began. You know how they always say save the best for last? Well, that's me. That's who they was talking about. My name is Articia Bomer. And in case any of you have not heard of who I am, well, you're about to know today. I am one of the whistleblowers, along with, of course, Kristina Karamo, who's over there talking with her constituents because she's running for Secretary of State. Well, before I even get to talking about something, I have a song for y'all because we here for liberty, right? I can't hear you. We're here for freedom, right? We're here to let freedom ring. Well, I'm here to let freedom sing. How about that? Oh, say, come on, I want y'all to sing it with me. Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Over ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er land of the free and the home of the brave? We can't have a speech without representing for our country the Star-Spangled Banner, the American flag, and definitely Jesus Christ, our Savior. Give it up for God, y'all. Let me tell y'all a quick story. Last year, well, let's go back to 2016, when I saw that Donald Trump was running for president. Now, I was just a voter then, and I was voting that a good old-fashioned Democratic way. We all know that that sucks, right? I was voting that way because I heard that my ancestors voted that way. I heard that my mother and father was voting that way. And I was wondering why we were so miserable and depressed growing up. That's why. We was voting for Democrats because we was lied to. We were told that Republicans only belong to rich white people. Well, guess what? I adopted the Republicans, and I'm going to be a rich black person, okay? I'm already rich in my spirits. I might not have a dime in my pocket, but I'm rich in my spirit, and that's what matters. That's what matters for America. They tried to tell, let me tell you what they told me about y'all. Y'all want to hear what they've been telling me about y'all? Yeah. Do y'all want to hear? I don't hear it loud enough. Did y'all want to hear? Yeah. They told me that y'all was a bunch of racists. They told me that y'all didn't even like black people. In fact, they said that I don't have a chance to stand in front of y'all and talk. Are we proving them wrong today? Are we proving them wrong today? And guess what? Another thing they said I'm a whistleblower. They said I'm an Uncle Tom. I'm a sellout because I witnessed all that fraud at TCF that night of the elections. Shame on them. Trump is the reason why I even got into politics. No, I'm not a politician. I'm a Christian. Okay? Let me say that again. No, I am not a politician. I am a Christian, and we need more Christians in office. We need more patriots in office. We need more people like me in office. Because we already got you guys. Y'all represent, y'all die hard for America. Well, it's time for my people to start dying hard for America as well. One thing about me, you will know I'm not afraid of a crowd. At the early age of 10, I was hosting I was valedictorian hosting 400 people, students, teachers, and parents, and I spoke up there with ease at age 10 years old. So you think I'm a buckle down now? No. I am the lady. I know y'all looking at the hat like, is that lady that was on that Senate committee oversight hearing? Yes, it is me. Yes. And they made me wait 30 people behind. I came in that joint with Chris Shornick. He picked me and my daughters up. It was a blizzard outside that morning. The devil was trying to stop the show. He didn't want me to get there. It was a blizzard, and Chris Shornick, if y'all know him, he was driving through that blizzard. He was driving his butt off, too. He was determined to get there, and I was determined, too. Well, when we got there, it was some yellow cards that you signed, and we signed them. And I filled mine out, and it asked you like some type of title of who you're there to represent, and God just put on me instantly, freezing fraud from future elections. Freezing fraud from future elections, which I call 4FE now. Freezing fraud from future elections. And a man there was like, can I take a picture of that card? Sure, you can take a picture of it. Chris Shornick was, I think, the 4th speaker. So that means I should have been number 5, right? Wrong. They didn't let me be number 5. You had Sylvia Santana up there. She did not want me to speak, and she was the only black person up there on the panel. And she was screaming at all them people out there, calling them racist. Oh, you don't like Black Lives Matter? Well, that's what I checked her when I got up there. I said, if Black Lives Matter, why did you skip me? 30 people. You skipped me. If Black Lives Matter, why did you let me sit there with 2 of my black kids sitting out there hungry, tired, and everything? We sat for 7 hours straight. And guess what? When I got to that, when they got me up there, they shouldn't have did that to me because that's where all that passion came from. That's where all that strength came from, that might, that determination came from, to go down the line with them. Here's one of my witnesses right here. I named her name off. She was a celebrity right along with me that day. I said, if you want to hear from my witnesses, here go the list of them right here. They said 3 minutes. I had to make that 3 minutes count, which I'm about to make the next 3 minutes count right now because that's what I'm going to give you. 3 more minutes of my time. I'm going to do just like they did me to sell myself to you guys. Look, there's 2 positions open right now that I could run for. That's one against a lady that I know all of y'all know who she is, and that's Rashida Tlaib. 13th Congressional District. She's in Congress, and they're bullies up in Congress. That little squad, I can take that squad down if y'all want me to. I can take them down if y'all want me to. But then we also got 3 witches in office. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say that because I'm so supposed to be political. Let me get on my best behavior. We have Gretchen Whitmore. We have Jocelyn Binson, which my friend over here is going to run against her. And we have Dana Nessel, which I was hoping that this attorney run against her. Well, it's open because I can run for it too, right? I can take her down, but I heard too much applause for Congress. Can I get, who wants me to run for governor? Let's hear the A's, come on. Who wants me to run for Congress? Let me hear you. It sounds the same on both of them. Y'all gonna have to give me a decision in a few months because I need to really get this thing going. I need to get a fundraiser going. I need to get my name out here and get a web page going because I can take both of them down. It's not nothing. I will not sweat. Last year, I made the ballot under the Republican ticket to run against Rashida Tlaib. And guess what? The Democrats tricked me. They gave me the wrong nominating petitions and they laughed at me while they stamped all of them. And I went to hundreds of houses, thousands of houses. I had more than enough ballots. Even when they came in with, you only need 50% because of the pandemic, the fake pandemic. So guess what? I had way more than enough. And they said, those are the wrong petitions. They were stamping them, laughing, dippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. So my name was on the ballot for 2 whole weeks under Republican ticket. When they took my name off, I was devastated. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I was depressed and everything you could think of. I went online searching on how can I run an independent party, which we had till July to turn those petitions in. Those were already spoiled because they already turned in. I was gonna have to go out and get, I think, a minimum of 3,000 to 6,000 more in 1 month. And nobody was answering their doors at that time. They really got over on me. So I started searching the internet, and I came across the U.S. Taxpayer Party. They ended up nominating me so I could get on the ballot, but I knew that wasn't how I was going to win. We needed a major party, like the Democrats and the Republicans, and I knew I wasn't going with them Democrats. Those are Democrats. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah, that's
If I'm wrong for saying that, I don't want to be right. Well, this year, guys, with your help, y'all can help me get my name on that ballot and make sure I stay on that ballot and win against evil so that I can get in the White House and shut governors like Whitmer down, shut Jocelyn Benson down, shut Dana Nessels down, because there's going to be some more of them step up to the plate acting like they gonna help us, and they gonna do the same old thing, muzzle and silence our mouths. I went to almost every Trump rally you can think of. I was a black voice for Trump. My kids was with me. We wore our hats proud, and we stood up proud. We went to all those rallies with people like you with no mask on your face. Now, I want you to tell me something. How can I go to a MAGA Million march with nobody with a mask on, hug over 10,000 people, and not get coronavirus? I'm listening. I'm waiting. Somebody tell me why I don't have coronavirus, and I done been around probably about 50 million people so far, because Trump's rally is rallies. A Trump rally don't stop. It starts at the tens of thousands. Biden get a rally, he might get lucky and get 50 people. And that man did sniff my hair, guys. He is a sniffer. We call him Sniffgate. I got pictures of him sniffing Governor Whitmer's political director hair too. If you don't believe me, you look on Facebook and you will see it today. I'm tired of him getting away with this. I got daughters. You think I'm gonna that's why I'm afraid to run for Congress and want to run for governor, because I don't want him to inaugurate me. Okay, because I'm going to plead the blood of Jesus on him. He might pass out. That might be his last day living. Because I'm telling you, I am afraid of that man, of what he's capable of, and I'm letting y'all know today. But I'm not afraid of that man and what he's capable of, because I got that man above that got my back. So I want to end this with, I love everybody here. And when they did the Stop the Steal rally, I came up with a little jingle, and I'll do it for y'all since y'all just loved my singing. They said the roads would be rough. I walked them. They said the mountains would be high. I climbed them. They said the waters would be deep. I swim them. They said that I would never sleep. Now I'm dreaming. I'ma do what I gotta do to stop the steal, the steal. I was up at TCF when I witnessed all that fraud. When I witnessed all that fraud, y'all, I couldn't believe what I saw. I couldn't believe what I saw. I was up at TCF, challenging the polls. When I witnessed all that fraud, y'all, I need one believer. I need one receiver. Put your hands up, come on. Hands up for Donald Trump. 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 Because that's still our president right now. Don't give up hope. Biden is not the president. What y'all sleeping for saying, oh, it's over with? We got hope in here. God is above. God is going to stop this nonsense. Y'all giving up on him? All those rhinos, y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Whoever you are, I don't need to call your name out. You can't sleep at night. I know it. Because I prayed and pleaded the blood of Jesus over America. I went out of town to Pennsylvania to the 911, the 953 flight, or whatever that flight was that crashed, and I pled the blood of Jesus in the snow. I wrote it in there. And I was down in Washington for the Capitol. They said the Capitol riot. They had a lady with a hat on like this that was supposed to be me, impersonating me. They lied, y'all. That was the most peaceful event. That day, the sun moved over, and something came out of heaven, and I was right there at Trump's event to see it. I stared into the sun, and I can see y'all today. You got on blue pants, you got on the red jacket, you got a flag. Am I blind? No, because they lying. I looked in the sun. This was a Trump event. This man is here from God. Y'all heard in the Bible about blow your trumpet in Zion? If you haven't heard it, blow your trumpet in Zion, Zion. Sound the alarm in my holy mountain. Blow your trumpet in Zion, Zion. Sound the alarm. Come on, y'all. Blow your trumpet in Zion, Zion. Sound the alarm in my holy mountain. Blow your trumpet in Zion, Zion. Sound the alarm. And that is exactly what Trump has done. He has sounded the alarm. Pay attention, guys. And when y'all go to sleep tonight, pray for America and pray for me, Articia Bomer, because I'm running for one of those offices. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. Those of you who stuck around, I'm glad you got all the information that you did. Make sure you visit these tables if you haven't already. People are wrapping up. We have the vaccine table over here. We've got Guardians of Michigan over there. If you haven't signed our book, please do it. Thank you so much. Did anyone else have any other questions for Catherine Henry? No?
Well, we gotta hit the toilet before we go.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We appreciate you.
I already did, Mark.